Hi Kamal, how are you? Good to see you. Hi Ankit, hi Chehek, hi Kirti, sorry, yeah. Yes, Kamal, it's nice, bright and lovely setup because we strongly believe in spreading light. So I thought I'll keep this setting a little bit more brighter today. So Preeti has also joined. I would just invite her to the session. So I've sent the request to Preeti, and yes, there it is. Hi Preeti, how are
Hi,
you?
Preet. I'm
Awesome,
good, thank
awesome.
you.
Looking lovely and
Good to see
bright.
you. Thank you. So are you? It's good
Good
to
to
be
see
here. So I was like just sending you a text, I'm waiting.
Okay, I'm here now. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Kamal is saying, yes, this bright light is giving a lot of positive energy. Oh, awesome. Good to hear. And now that we have a lot of positive people already joining us, I'm sure it's going to be a super positive session. So, with that, let me welcome our very, very beautiful and amazing guest of the day, Miss Preeti Joshi. So Preeti is a very, very interesting woman, a very passionate woman rather, and she's an excellence coach. She's a certified NLP advanced practitioner. She's also a theta healer, and she has been working in the education field for about 20 long years now. She's also served as a principal for about 7 years in CBSE schools, and she has been getting rave reviews from many, many of her clients. And her clients are not just, children, but almost everyone. So with that note, I welcome you once again, Preeti. It's a pleasure to have you here.
Thank you so much, Preet. And the pleasure is mutual. Like, I'm really happy that I'm here and thank you for all the nice words that you just said. So I'm looking forward to what I can contribute, whatever it
I'm
is,
sure you
to
have
this
so
talk.
much to offer because I have been watching your sessions. I know you. So it's rather a pleasure to have you here. So Preeti, we would love to
Thank
know
you.
more about, what kind of work you do because you are into multiple domains of helping people. So what is it that you really do and what kind of clients you work with?
Okay, so I will start with like what my passions are actually. So my passions being painting and people. So people generally, the smaller the size, more the love, but of course I like all the sizes. So
Yeah.
working with people in any which way is good. So I started off with a teacher. So being in the school, it was like I was a kid in a candy store. So many kids around, and you get to do so much of artwork. And while I did that, I picked up a lot of things about people. I had a lot of interactions with all kinds of people, which perhaps has helped me a lot in what I'm doing now. Um, since I love my job, I did get promoted very, very quickly to principalship. And when I started with theta healing and NLP, that is neuro linguistic programming, I realized that we can do a lot with that. So I had started using, and the best thing about NLP is that you can do it conversationally, you know that, and
Right.
without the other person even knowing. So it's like their dignity is saved. So somebody comes to you with a problem, and you somehow work it around so that they think they have come up with the solution themselves. That was the most heartening thing, and that is when I realized I must take it to more people. So
Awesome.
now I'm working one-on-one with clients. Yeah. So I deal with kids, I deal with teachers, parents, people from the corporate. I also do workshops. Now, since the lockdown has started, I've started doing webinars, for parents, for teachers, for students. So some are lined up in the offering. So yeah,
Sure.
at the moment that.
Yeah. And Preeti, how was like this lockdown for you? I'm sure, this was a phase where a lot of people discovered things they were not used to deal with, especially with the children, because everyone had to stay inside their homes, and they were not used to spending that much of time with the children. Not just dealing with their own children, but, there were issues which came forward while I was having conversations with many of my friends that they were not able to even handle the pressures themselves, right? So, were there any specific challenges that people came up to you with during this lockdown time?
Yes, they did. Actually, like that is how I got started. So the first thing was like I myself was facing a lot of challenges, you know. So like when I'm
Mm-hmm.
dealing with people face to face, one on one, that is the best. Like you know what is happening with the other person. I had a
Right.
lot of hang-ups about doing webinars and stuff. So I said, but this is the time when people need it, and I ought to. So I started asking parents around, people around, what are the challenges. So mostly it was number one, how to keep the kids engaged, occupied. They
Mm-hmm.
had a lot of time. They were home 24/7, and parents were home 24/7. Now people are not used to seeing each other for that long, because
True.
one third of the time is spent sleeping. The other is one third is probably goes to, going to the school and then the tuition and stuff like that. You go to your office, and then the rest of it is spent with the family, which is like what you're used to. It's not as if you don't like them, but that is how it was. And suddenly everybody is home together, getting in each other's faces. So first thing was, how do we keep them engaged, without
Mm-hmm.
our supervision? Because the kids need to know, what do I do now? How do I do it? And those kind of questions. Some other things that came up with, I realized that the kids are not self-reliant, They don't know how to do things on their own. That's why they're looking for constant supervision. Then the studies, they were not taking interest. Now, because the teacher and the class ambience is completely different, now it was like, how do we keep them interested? How do we make them learn? How do we make them sit at the table and do certain things? Siblings fighting with each other. There was no routine. They complain a lot about, no timetable. They don't follow a routine. They're so indisciplined.
Mm-hmm.
Once they started with the online classes, teachers had the problems, Like, how do we keep them engaged? How do we make sure that they are doing what we are asking? So all of these problems, sleep patterns, food habits, mood swings, everything went for a toss. Like it did with us also. So kids
Mm-hmm.
being just kids, they have got lesser uh, bandwidth with the kind of experiences that they have in dealing with such things. So yes, all of that came up. So that is what I felt that we need to address now.
Okay. So it was more about keeping themselves engaged, keeping, them involved and not and helping them with sibling rivalry also. So what about the
That
grown-up
was
kids?
also that.
Yeah.
Grown-up kids had exactly the same problems, I guess, but multifold. Because now, so the problems that grown-ups came up with was like they have to work from home, and they also have to make sure that the kids are working, so especially the
Mm-hmm.
moms and all, even the fathers for that matter. So it was
Right.
an that was an added thing. Plus, what happens generally is, this is what I got to know from them. Bosses generally think, oh my God, everybody is home and having fun, you know.
Hmm.
So we have to
Right.
give them some extra tasks to make sure that they work, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
There were a lot of layoffs. Many people got laid off. That really played on their minds. That was something that bothered a lot of people. And
Mm-hmm.
many people, there were pay cuts and stuff like that. So all those problems, there was a lot going on that people, they were taken by surprise, shocked rather. So yeah, there was this kind of a crisis. I don't think that people know how to handle it. So all
True.
the more
True.
reason for people like us to talk about it. So then I did
Mm-hmm.
one on crisis management. So yeah. So
Okay.
majorly this with grown up kids and little ones as well.
That's interesting. So what exactly is the crisis management bit that you did with them, if you would love to share with us?
Oh, that was a whole lot. See, what I realized was that everywhere where there is a crisis, I feel that whether you're working from home or working in a workplace, whether you're a teacher, whether you're a parent or whatever it is, everything boils down to how well you can deal with the situation, which is like see, crisis is generally when we think that the problem is bigger than us,
Mm-hmm.
right? And crisis in itself is so what happens is our heartbeats are going to go up. We will not be able to think right. We will not be taking the right decisions and stuff like that. So the thing is, how do we make sure that we are able to be in that state of mind where we are at least calm and poised enough to know what the next step is. So, like we have this whole model, of the steps in which we go through a particular crisis. So first there is denial, then there is like we go through the
Right.
entire process of okay, now what? Then you generally tend to blame, then you try to find, okay, fine. Ultimately, you end up with resignation. Okay, this is how it is. Now let's see how to deal with it. So when you come to the last step, okay, let's see how I deal with this. It's okay. If you get stuck with, oh my God, now what? Then it is a problem. So either you take help or talk it out to people who know how to deal with that.
Right. And
So
that's an important point to identify. First, accept that, yes, there is something which
yeah,
we are not
yeah,
able to handle. Because if you are not looking beyond that, then you'll stay stuck. So it's important to seek help, right? So we will get
absolutely.
so we'll be getting more into depth of the same thing. Before that, I have a one quick question. You mentioned about parents looking for different ways to keep their children engaged. Is there any one is to get them involved in activities, or as you also mentioned that give them extra classes. But is there anything that you would want to mention at the things that parents need to take care of while ensuring that they're engaging them well? Is there anything on the emotional side or related to the
So yeah,
mental
absolutely.
health well-being of children, which is
I
relevant
get
in this
you.
context? Yeah.
Yes, yes, absolutely. And what I realized was with whether it was when parents came to me, like in the school, or when teachers came to me with a problem, or when they come to me on a one-on-one, for themselves or for their children, it's like sometimes you wonder, like, I can see this, why can't they? You know, and everything I realize boils down to relationships. So
Your voice is breaking. Could you just repeat the last sentence?
I said I realize that whether it is teachers or parents, can you hear me?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead. Yeah. We've lost you, Preeti. Is everyone else able to hear it? Please write yes in the comments if you're able to hear both of us. So people, if you are able to hear me, just type yes. And if you are able to hear Preeti, I'll just add her again. Okay, I'll just reconnect her. Okay, I'll just add her again. I think she got disconnected. Just give us a moment. Just give us a moment. I'll reconnect her. Okay, I'll just call her back. Meanwhile, welcome everyone, and a lot of people have joined us. So once again, welcome everyone. And Preeti is joining. I'm just adding her again.
Hi,
Yeah, she's back. We lost you for a bit.
this is like,
Yeah, some divine intervention maybe.
I hope so. I certainly hope so.
Yeah.
So it's like, then I
Okay.
have this
Yeah.
problem with the headphones and all. I hope that you can hear me. So I was talking about, parents and teachers having the good intention of wanting to help out the kids and all. It all boils down to, three things. If I really simplify it, there are three things that we look at. Number one is that there is ignorance about a certain mindset, like I
Mm.
now call it parenting bedrocks or teaching bedrocks, but it all actually is like I call them relationship bedrocks. The relationship between a child and a parent, between a student and a teacher, between two colleagues, even between two parents, and most of all, my relationship with myself. You know, So, and it is, when you really look at it, it is all the same that we need to think about. Number two that I find here is that the communication. Um, the words that we are using, we very innocently have been repeating the same things that we have heard, even though they don't work. I realize it now, and probably you realize it now because we've studied it, right? But we are trying to using the words, the quotes, the phrases, which are not suiting us at all. They don't serve us anymore, and we don't even know about that. We've done it so often. I'll be talking about it soon. And the third thing is that we don't have the tools. Like, okay, fine, we need to change, we need to do something. Are there any tools that we could use to make the process faster? Very specifically target a problem area. So, so you have been talking about everybody being kids and, coming up with something for everyone because there is a child inside it. So, okay, let me just put it down in the ABC format, So today we're going to learn the ABC of what are these bedrocks that I'm talking about. I call them the bedrocks of rockstar relationships. And you will find, yeah. So I like coming up with that. So, you know what? It's a very big responsibility being a parent, being a teacher. It's a huge responsibility. But nowhere does it say that it cannot be fun. It should be, We generally get bogged down by, oh my God, I have to do this, I have to come up with that and stuff like that. So today I just wanted to make sure that we can make this a little bit of fun. And so we're going to do that ABC format for learning what these bedrocks are. We're also going to teach people how to rap. If you want to be a good teacher, if you want to be a good parent, you should know how to rap. So we'll come to that also. Yeah. And shall I get started? Or is there something else that you want?
No, please go ahead.
So, yeah, because it's very short time. So I start with A. A stands for approval, acceptance, and appreciation. The three things that everybody needs are these three, right? And it is something that makes people know that, okay, fine, we are being acknowledged. Okay, so acknowledgement comes from, just accepting their feelings, just acknowledging, okay, fine, we understand, we get you. So generally it is like people generally get problems because they feel unheard, they feel unseen, and they therefore feel unloved. I can't express myself. So the last A here is always lead by example. So this is what I tell parents and teachers. Whatever behavior that you want your kids, your students to adopt, you have to model that first. Okay, so I'm going to take random examples. Some are going to be from teaching, some from parenting, some from general. People can think about it in their relevant contexts, right? So, for example, if I want my child to be honest, okay, and somebody comes at the door and I want to watch a movie, I'm just not in the mood to, entertain anyone. And I say, जाके बोल दो कि मम्मी टीवी देख रही है, या मम्मी सो रही है, so टीवी देख रही है, मैं बोल दो कि मम्मी सो रही है, आपको बाद में कॉल करेंगी या बाद में मिलेंगे. And the child has learned that, okay, she may say, be honest, but so it's like actions speak louder than words. B, I say, is for boundaries. So we talk about, the rules that we set for classroom or for home. And if everybody, comes up with a lot of details about how the other person is supposed to behave, etc. One thing I realized while I was like doing a lot of in-depth study when it came to, what makes it work between parents and we have not ever been taught, at least I'll speak for myself and probably many more because I conducted a workshop on this. We don't know how to set boundaries for ourselves, right? So it's like, what is a boundary? A boundary is how am I going to allow people to treat me, okay, or to behave around me, and what they can expect from me. So we've always been told, okay, fine, dusre ko dekho, do this for the others, make sure that you've done this for them or not done for them, and make sure they feel good and all. Have you set those boundaries for yourself, right? So your relationship with yourself, are you setting those boundaries or no? Then when I talk about the rules, so be very specific about the rules that you're setting. So I'll not go very deep into it. We can probably take some questions regarding every whichever problem or whichever aspect that they want details about. So when you're
Right.
setting the rules, be very, very clear and specific about it. Be very specific. What are the rules? What are your expectations from the children? So let us say that in a classroom, you should, if you're making a rule, you know that when I'm speaking as a teacher, I want the class to listen to me. Okay? So I have to be specific. If you have a question, they may have a question. So if you have a question, you have to raise your hands. You don't have to speak. I can see your hands. Okay? Or you could say, I'm going to complete this topic. After that, I'm going to entertain the questions, right? You're being very, very specific. You're going to be inside the classroom before I come to the classroom. Specific. You can't be coming in, going out, whenever you want to. So when I say be specific, you have to be very clear. Make sure that the other person understands what these rules are. B also stands for behavioral flexibility. Sometimes there will be, certain reasons when you have to be flexible with whatever you're doing. I say that you will not enter my classroom after I have come into the classroom. You have to be there before me, but maybe the child was helping another child who had fallen down and had to be taken to the dispensary in the school. So
Yeah.
that behavioral flexibility, and they should know what are the events where that is exercise, right? The third thing that we have in B is brainstorming. Okay. Now a lot of like parents come up with, my children cannot do things on their own. Okay, or they always have to look towards me. They're not independent. Now, how do you teach a child to be independent? Okay, one way is to problem solve. So how does that come? By brainstorming. So you said, this is a problem. This is what I feel about it. What do you think about it? So when you're asking the child about their opinion, it is like, okay, fine, the child is, my opinion matters. Okay? But please don't then say, just shoot off the ideas like this doesn't make sense. Jot down all of them. Okay? So when you're brainstorming and jotting down all of the ideas, you can keep on pitching in yours also. Right? And then you say, okay, fine, this works with me. And does it work with you? So there has to be a mutual meeting place, for both the parties, whether it is teacher and student, whether it is parent and child. So when you're brainstorming, you start to problem solve. This also gives them a lot of confidence, about dealing with problems. The more they deal with problems, the more autonomous they will become, right? And then I
Right.
say, okay, fine,
Right.
do it
Yeah.
on your own. They're not looking for your supervision all the time. That should save parents a lot of misery, I believe, and a little bit of time also. Then we come to C's. Yeah. So C stands for, I say, consistency, the consequences. First, I'll deal with these two, and then I'll come to something that is really a very strong point that I made. So consistency is like, you made a rule. Let us say that the mother makes a rule that you can't watch TV or maybe the mobile when you're eating, and you're firm with that, right? So next day she comes home from work and she's tired, and there are some guests coming over. She has to go to the kitchen, and now the child is like, "I want to watch this," and so she knows that generally it's not allowed, but because she's tired, and ha ha, theek hai, dekh lo, times. Now
To the
there is no consistency here. Now the next day when the child is going to watch TV at that particular time, and now the mother scolds again, now the child is like kind of foxed. What is this? Like, when do I get, an okay, a green signal from her for this particular activity? When don't I? There are other reasons where consistency will not happen. For example, like one parent is trying to, get these rules started at home, and the other parent is more lenient. Okay, so it is always like Papa to bahut achhe hai, Mummy to bahut daanti hai. Now you'll very often hear this, that the mother is a disciplinarian, but because Papas come home for a short time and very late, they'll allow things to happen. Sometimes grandparents will be, "Arey itna ro raha hai, koi baat nahi, isko dekhne do thodi der times." So there'll be different reasons why the consistency gets marred, but try to stick to this. The parents together should make sure that whatever rule is to be followed should be followed, right? Consistency also gives a sense of security to the children. Okay, so they know where they're coming from, where the parents are coming from. So, and they have to. It gives them a sense of security that there's somebody in command. Sometimes parents are too lenient, and it's like the kids will run amok. But the thing is this, that if they feel that they can get away with anything, there are times when they are not sure about it at all. That is where the parents need to be there with their support and their authority. When somebody is taking charge, you know. So that is there. Consequences, yes. If you don't follow the rules, there are consequences, right? So it's something like, okay, fine, you don't get to watch the TV for the next 2 days, but stick to that. Let the child know you will not get to watch TV for the next 2 days. You can read books though, you know. So that flexibility, and they know. So it's not like really punishment, go sit in a corner kind of a thing. The third is, if you really want to get things done by the kids, okay, then you must make sure that there is always connection before correction, right? So you'll find that they're not doing whatever you ask. Yeah, yeah. So how do you get the connection thing? Okay, connection is nothing but acknowledging what the child is feeling. Okay, so the feelings have to be acknowledged. The child is, let us say, he comes home angry, had a fight with a friend. Okay, and then I had a fight with Rohan. So you know that you should not fight with your friends. Okay, that is one way. Okay, and you're outright like rejecting whatever the person is feeling, and then you're giving them a rap and you're judging and stuff like that. So it really doesn't work, because the child is going to go off in a huff and probably will not even come and tell you what is going to happen, or what is happening in his life next, right? So the first thing is acknowledge the feeling. Okay, so when you say, "Oh, you seem to be angry," and that is all you say, and just keep quiet after that. Mum yourself, and you'll find the child is coming up. You know what? This person, he bumped into me and I fell down in the puddle, and look, my clothes got dirty and stuff. And then you just say, and then the child says, but you know what? It was raining, I know, and there were so many people over there trying to get inside the bus. So probably he didn't mean it. Okay. Oh, it's all right. So what happens is, like, just because you acknowledge the feeling, the child, just feels validated, and then we come up with a problem solution on his own or her own. So most of the time, because you've already given them so much gyan all the time. So it's like, theek to hai. And then that is the end of it. But had you not validated them with whatever, it might have gone on for a longer time. And then they don't even know how to resolve it on them. So then we come to, it is one more point I want to make here is if kids feel right, like whenever we're talking about the behaviors not being good, whenever they feel right, they will behave right. And how do they feel right? When you tell them, okay, fine, we understand, we know what you're going through. That's it. You don't have to come up with any solution. And I think this goes for you and me also, at workplace, and maybe in a school. So that is why I said this is for everyone. I don't do something well in my workplace, and my colleague tells me, "Acha, फिर से कर दिया तुमने ये ना." I'm like, I can't come to her if I have got a problem, Like, she doesn't understand. So sometimes you just need a listening ear. That's all we need. So we did see, now we come to D, which is discipline versus punishment. So this is another thing. My kids or the students, they're so naughty. They don't do this, they don't do that, they don't listen. This thing will come to later on. So what do you mean by discipline in the first place? I think we have all, what do you feel? What was discipline when it came to you, Preet? In the school or at home? Generally, it is like
following the rules. Yeah, just obliging the rules, not breaking them was the standard definition of discipline for me at that time. Yeah.
So it's like, that's right, control. So discipline is generally like, if you do this, this is what you're going to get. If you don't do that, this is what is going to happen, So it's like, be a good girl.
Yeah. Yeah.
This or face the consequences. But discipline should or is all about, letting the child know that this is what is wrong, and then giving them a choice about how to behave otherwise. All right? What is the corrective measure?
Right.
So it is. So can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I just wanted to, reiterate a very, very important point you just mentioned, which was not just listening, but also giving that kid an option. And this works everywhere, even in the corporate, with our team members, our friends, our family members. Because sometimes,
Yes.
there is a problem. We also know that discipline or, talking about it is important, but the brain does not know the choices. Sometimes simply giving choices to the person, makes them unstuck. Very brilliant point. Yeah. And
And
Preeti,
it's not just about choices. Sometimes we don't even know we have one
yeah,
because
yeah,
we haven't specifically been told, right? So it's like,
true.
okay, fine. And how do we know what the amendment is? So since I think we started off with the kids and all that, generally what happens is, I'll take an example, like the teacher will say, untidy work, okay,
Mm,
and do it again. So that's like the punishment. Do it again is the punishment. And you're not telling them what to do. What do you mean by untidy work? You know? So if they
mm,
could be more descriptive, like what is it that is wrong and what is the correction? So you simply say, instead of saying that is untidy handwriting and good like passing a sentence, that do it again. So passing a judgment and then passing the sentence. So if you just say, okay, write within the lines, don't overwrite, don't score out the answers, stuff like that, or underline the important words or whatever. It becomes very clear for the child next time what is expected of you, right?
mm,
Let us say that a small child has made a mistake and writes on the walls instead of snapping the fingers and saying, "Bad boy, go sit in the corner, no more coloring for you." Now the
mm,
child knows nothing; he just knows that something has happened. But what? He is a bad boy or a bad girl. Instead, if you just
yeah,
picked up the colors and said, "Okay, now this is wrong because we have paper for that," the child has clear instructions what to do instead. So
yeah.
discipline is when you're letting them know what the correction is after telling them what is that we don't want, right? Punishment
So
is just
true.
telling you,
That's
yeah,
true. Yeah, yeah.
absolutely.
That's actually
Then we have,
transformative. Yeah.
yeah. With this is another beautiful, beautiful thing I learned, which is like descriptive praise. You know,
Mm-hmm.
so one is like you're just teaching them what the commandment is. The second is when they do a good job, how do you praise them? So, a child comes to
Yeah.
you and says, "Oh, I made this painting."
Mm.
And, "Oh, wow, excellent job. You are a hero. You are a great artist. Oh my God, you are a Picasso," and stuff like that. And you think, "Oh, wow, I praised the child." And the child is like, "But the colors are out of the line in this, and why is she praising me like this?" Because in the
Yeah.
morning, ma'am scolded me for the same thing. She said, "You must color inside the lines, right?" And the child is like,
Yeah.
either she's lying or somebody else. Like, she doesn't know what she's saying, right? So you start to doubt it. Okay, and
Mm-hmm.
it's like sometimes praise will also, this kind of praise will also put a lot of pressure on you. Oh my God, if it is really good, I have to do like this all the time.
All
You
the
know, and
time.
else it's
Mm.
like when somebody's praising you like that, and singing praises of yours, and you're like, what does this person want from me? The suspicion is also there. So whenever you have praise, and this goes for everyone once again, and please, when you're praising yourself and your work, also do it. Be descriptive. So it's like, oh, I like the colors that you have used. So we're still taking that example, right? I like the colors that you have used, and I really like this particular area where the color is all filled in very neatly. So the child knows that this area is better than the other areas, perhaps, and that she's actually looking at it and she's giving me a very good feedback. And then you can, the ultimate reason why you praise somebody so that the person feels good about themselves, and you can say something like, "I remember, or I, noticed that your coloring has become more, you could say, structured or
Mm.
neater." So now the child is, okay, neater. This is something that is expected of you. And the child is feeling, oh, I have improved. You see? So there are words that we can use that is going to describe the place. And then you say, "This makes me feel so good," right?
Wow.
So
Wow.
this
That's
kind of a phrase instead of the other one. So now you can choose, right? Now we have choice. Then we come to ease for engaging cooperation. Now there are so many things that we do, all of this thing that we're learning, and then still the children are not behaving that the way you want to, and
mm,
you lose it. Like you tend to get
mm,
frustrated. You get angry. After
mm.
all, there is like a threshold for your patience also. So then what do you do? So generally it will be like, okay, we did lose our temper, and then maybe one. Or maybe
Yeah. Yeah.
not.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it happens. Now this is something that even I learned when I was like, reading these books, right? we've been, or at least I did. It's like, can you share your feelings with the kids? We generally feel, oh, they're too small, or they're
Yeah.
too young, or we are grown-ups. Can we do that? Absolutely, absolutely.
Hmm.
So what you do
Hmm.
is, like, when you are faced with a situation where they're not doing what you want and you want their cooperation, let them know what you feel. Like we were talking about, accept their feelings and acknowledge their feelings. Let them know. Let them have the benefit of knowing what you are feeling. Why should we
Right.
expect that they should know, or that they should assume, or that they will not understand? And this builds up
Yeah.
a very beautiful bond between whoever it is, between whom we have to have this cooperation. So once you have told them that this is how I feel, then you can describe what is it that you don't like about whatever is going on. So let us say that you want to get since we are talking about lockdown and you're talking about kids at home only, and the parents are expecting that the room should be clean, right? So you can say that I can see that everything is littered around. Okay. And when things are littered around, they tend to get lost, and then you come to me, and then that takes away time from my work. Okay. You just say one word, like you have given instructions enough number of times. So you say that that really upsets me. Okay. When I see
Hmm.
things around, because then I can't organize myself or whatever. And then you just say one word, the toys or the books. And the child knows, okay, the books. Sometimes they forget. They get so engrossed in whatever they're doing or talking or watching TV or whatever. So give them that benefit of doubt. Okay? One word,
Hmm.
just one word. Okay? And then they put the things back wherever it was supposed to be. Right? Mostly it will happen like that. Okay?
Yeah.
And this is why
Yeah.
parents come and say, okay, fine, but what about nagging and stuff like
Hmm.
that? I always tell them one thing. I say, if in 10 minutes, you got like 10 minutes to span, where you know you're going to lose your temper after 10 minutes. Okay.
Hmm.
So start giving the instruction at least 15 minutes span. Okay. You've given
Oh,
yourself a 5 minutes.
wow.
Yeah,
This
right?
is hard.
So when
Yeah.
I have got 5 minutes on my hands, so I'm not going to lose my temper. But the child knows, oh, she's going to lose her temper after 5 times that she says this, right? And you're saying it when you're very poised, okay?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
what is going to happen is by the third time, and you just like casually come in and look, okay, your toys, they're going to pick it up before you lose your fuse. So that is a trick I generally tell parents, okay, follow that. And we have you want to encourage autonomy, right? You want them to be taking their own decisions. So it's like you're doing your work at home and your child is coming. अब मैं क्या करूँ? मैं बोर हो गया. पढ़ूँ कि coloring करूँ? ये करूँ कि वो करूँ? Kinds, Why
Right.
isn't the child coming up with the solution himself or herself? Because they don't know
Hmm.
how. You've been doing it for
It's,
them all their lives. Have you ever
yeah.
allowed them to take their own decisions? So this is why
It's,
parents trip. So they will say कि ये ऐसे क्यों नहीं करता है? And I'm like, how many times and how often have you allowed them to take a decision and accepted the decision? You know? So
hmm.
start with small things. So it could be something as simple as, do you want to wear your yellow shirt or your blue one? Okay? But make sure, here's the thing, here's the deal. Make sure whatever option you're giving them, both of them are okay with you. So when you
Hmm.
say, are you going to wear your yellow or the blue shirt, either should be okay with you. It should not be, नहीं ये तो तुम्हारे green pants के साथ अच्छा नहीं लगेगा, red पहन लो. तो भाई इन दो का आपने choice दिया क्यों? You know?
Right.
So when they pick up that choice, okay, green,
Hmm.
that or blue or yellow, whatever it is, then they start to build up the confidence. Okay, fine, this works, and slowly start building up the foundation of
Right.
the kind of choices that they're making.
That's a very,
Uh,
very fine point. And Preeti, I would just interrupt for a bit because I'm just also checking on the time. And we have many, many people who are educators who have joined us today, who are educators who are working with children. They're doing workshops for children, but they're singles. And many are still, they're not married. So since we also mentioned about, some inner child work and something to connect with the child and ourselves so that it affects our life in a beautiful way. And since we have very limited time left, about another 15 minutes or so, so I would quickly love to know if you have any, maybe NLP tips or any other tips or anything you want to share right now that, they can also implement. Because I'm loving this ABCD of this is actually a complete system that you put forward and very, very practical. Amazing,
Right.
amazing.
Right.
So for rest
Yeah.
of the audience also, and also for the audience, if you have any questions, if you want to ask Preeti any specific thing, please type in the comments and we'll take care of it from there. So Preeti, yeah.
Yes, so I do have a few things, but it was like, if you give them the tools without letting them know what the bedrocks are that they have to aim for, it's like teaching them how to shoot without telling them what
Yeah.
the target should be. So the bedrocks before you get with the tools. And yeah, so besides this, uh, I said that we're going to teach you.
I think Preeti, again, we have lost your voice. Pe- People, can you hear me? Can you hear my voice? If yes, just type yes. Uh, Preeti, we lost you for a bit, so could you just reiterate what you said?
RAP stands to build up a rockstar relationship. The three things that I would give right here because of the paucity of time. One is R, A, and P. R stands for rapport. So rapport, is what is the foundation stone, I would say, for getting into uh, a relationship where you will be heard. So rapport in NLP stands for, this feeling of trust between two people so that the response becomes good. So I think many of the people here will understand this. They'll say, I keep on saying this to whoever, my colleague or my subordinates or people who I'm working with, but they don't understand. Okay. So what happens is that there is a very good, there was a survey, and what they found was that words are just 7% of the communication. Okay. 38% is your tonality, and 55% is your body language, right? So if you're not getting across to the people, mind your tonality and see whether your body language is conducive to getting the response that you're expecting from them, right? So you're saying that, okay, fine, if we take an example from the corporate sector, okay, and somebody who's facing a challenge with getting, their teams to work with them. Okay. And they say that, oh, we have been giving them instructions non-stop and they don't understand and stuff like that. So number one is what is the tone that you're using? Okay. So here I would say something as simple as, what I learned, like when dealing with adults, match their volume, match their pitch, okay, and match the speed is how I would put it.
Yeah.
Are you talking at the same speed that they're speaking at? Are you at the same pitch? And are you at the same volume? Just by making these tweaks, you'll find that the other person somehow on the unconscious level will start to respond to you better. Body language, make sure that you are matching their body language. Okay, is it closed? Is it open? Are they standing straight? Are they a little louder? Whatever it is. So these are very, very, I would say, sneaky, ways of getting into rapport with the other person. Rapport is nothing but getting into a kind of alignment in sync through the body, and the other one mirrors it. So what will happen is they will be more receptive to whatever you're saying. Okay, that is the art part. A is the anchor. So anchors is, you will sometimes have this, like you see somebody and you're like, ew, I don't like, being around this one. And every time it is the same thing. Like they might have done something earlier in the past, but now they have changed, but you still remember that. So that memory is anchored to your neurology. Okay. But same way, there are people that you really, really look forward to meeting. The very mention of those people saying, so what is it that they're doing? So it is always to do with the feeling. What are the feelings that you're creating? What are the triggers when that you've created that when they think about people, oh wow, I would really, really want Preet to be there. What did Preet do? She made them feel a certain way. Okay. Here I tell everyone you can go for a certain outcome. Okay. So you could say, okay, fine. Preet means fun. Preet means color. Preet means happy. Preet means a lot of joke. Preet means laughter. So you can decide this is the anchor I want and create that anchor. So for example, in my school, I made sure that I would create anchors of confidence in students and teachers. So when they come to me with, a problem, I'll make sure with the communication that I'm doing that I create these anchors. And you know what? Like one of the teachers walked in, she came towards me in my office And then she says, you know what, ma'am, I had a problem, but the minute I reached your office, I have a solution also. So the anchor is like, you just look at this person and the solution comes to you. So that is the
Right.
A of rap. If you want to be a rock star communicator. And then P is one of the language patterns that I teach people, which is called a presupposition. Okay? So a presupposition is where what outcome that you want, you speak in a way that it is assumed that the outcome is going to happen. Okay? So, for example, let us say I want to call Preet for lunch. Okay? So, I'll ask Preet something like this. Preet, are you going to come with your sister or without? Okay? So, I'm giving
Yeah.
Preet a choice. Are you coming with your sister or are you coming without your sister? But I'm not.
Yeah.
So, the word is, she definitely is coming. There is no doubt about that. But she has a choice of whether to come with her sister or without. Okay? So
Right.
this is like, yeah, a very sneaky way. I said, if you want to get homework, then if you have ever faced problem with homework, ask the children, you want the homework on Friday, you ask the children, do you want to submit the homework on Wednesday or Thursday? So there is no question that the homework is going to be submitted. Okay? So the
Right.
unconscious will not question that. They just think the choice is, do I choose Wednesday or Thursday? And you will find that the work gets done. So this is a
Right.
presupposition is one of those magic, word patterns that we have in
Yeah.
NLP that can be used.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
you have to be very, very careful with this. Make sure that the choices that you give are both win-win situations for both the parties. No manipulations here, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
we're doing whatever you're doing for the good for yourself and before that for the other person. Okay? Especially like when it comes to corporates and all that, where we talk about cutthroat competition, it works. So rap. Just start
Yeah.
rapping.
That's a wonderful formula for people who are not
A
from
little louder.
neuro-linguistic programming. Yeah. Can you hear me now?
Hold on, please.
Sure.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
yeah. Can you repeat, please?
Oh, yeah. So for people who are not from neuro-linguistic programming background, I'll just try to quickly simplify. Preeti just shared a formula which we can use not just with the children, but with anyone and everyone. And I personally have seen that it works. So R is repo. अगर मैं इसको
Yeah,
बहुत सिंपल तरीके से बताना चाहती हूँ तो इट्स लाइक हम बॉडी लैंग्वेज के बारे में सब लोग पढ़ते हैं एट द सेम टाइम इट्स मिररिंग द अदर पर्सन trying to match the tone and the vocal attributes of the voice जिस तरीके से वो बंदा बात कर रहा है या बैठा है try to mirror that and try to build that rapport, that trust
yeah.
even before you begin any sort of communication. That's one. So A is association or anchoring. Anchoring बहुत simple तरीके से if I have to tell you, it's associating a feeling with something very very good. ताकि अगर आप दोबारा उस स्विच को दबाओ उसके अंदर वो पॉजिटिव फीलिंग्स जनरेट हो. That is one.
Absolutely,
That
absolutely.
yeah.
Make
And
sure that
third is
you create positive answers.
yes, that's very very important. And third is
Yeah,
presupposition. So इसको बहुत simply अगर मैं बोलूँ तो these are some assumptions. For example, if but yes, make sure that you do not use these to manipulate people because we only want
yeah.
win-win and highest good of all. So if I have to, tell you to wear some interesting dress rather than asking you, okay, क्या आप ये पहनना पसंद करेंगे? I would rather say आप इसमें से कौन सा चुनेंगे? And I've used that. A lot of salespeople use these techniques. If you want to set a meeting with a client, you
Yeah,
don't
that's right.
when will you meet me? You simply go and ask, will you be meeting on Friday or Thursday? So these are some
Yeah.
techniques which are powerful, but in a good way. Use them in good way. So Preeti, again we have I think 7-8 minutes left, and I would want to ask you some very interesting questions. What, as per you, makes the best speakers?
Awesome. I love this. We keep on learning from people around us. And
Yeah.
the best teachers I feel are the kids. And the smaller they are, the better. So if you really look at a child, an infant, especially, you'll find that they have a lot of elan, ELAN. So why do I say that they're the best teachers? They express themselves. भूख लगी है तो चिल्लाएंगे. Okay? खुश हो रखे हैं तो हंसेंगे. It's like no
Right.
two ways. They don't छुपाना है, बताना नहीं है kind, let
Yeah.
you
We again lost you, Preeti. I think that, yeah. Preeti, your voice is breaking again.
Okay, wait, let me get rid of this.
Preeti,
So,
your voice is breaking.
Okay.
Yeah, now you're back.
Can you
So one is
hear me now?
expression. Yeah. First one was
Yeah.
expression quickly. Second one was laughter. Right?
ELAN, that is Elan, okay? A is
Yeah.
adventurous. So they
Okay.
मिट्टी दिख गई चलो खा के देखते हैं पत्ता दिख गया खा के देखते हैं छिपकली मिल गई खा के देखते हैं so like they're so open to
Yeah.
experiences
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
yeah that is and the last one is N they never give up. Have you ever seen a small toddler, who's learning to walk, saying, चार बार चलने की कोशिश करी, गिर गया, I'm such a loser, I'm going to give up now, I'll never do this again. No!
Yeah.
So they
Yeah.
keep on
Deepak?
trying till they get hold of whatever it is that, no voice. Can you hear me?
Deepak, can you hear now? We had lost her for a second, but now she's back. Just type yes, Deepa, if you are able to. Is everyone able to hear both of us? There seems to be some minor connectivity issue.
Okay, let me speak a little bit. So,
Yeah.
children are the best sources, of learning, I think. And if you can, and they're very unbiased. They're like unadulterated with any kind of conditioning that we have given them. So, in fact, like I love so much from the little ones. So once my niece came to me and she's like, I had a very bad dream and I was like, how do I deal with this? I said, then what do we do? Don't worry, Masi, I have a remote control in my hand. So whenever I want to change the scene, I can do it. Just imagine
Hmm.
that kind of set, your mindset being that, that kind of state of mind where you knew that you have control over your emotions, that your
Yeah.
emotions are not controlling you. So I feel that yes, it's the children that we can learn from the most.
Awesome, awesome. So, Preeti, is there anything else that you would want to share with us and along with telling us, how people can reach out to you and for what all things they can reach out to you for? And if anyone has
Um,
a question, please ask. Yeah.
any
Yeah.
questions?
No questions yet, so you can continue.
Okay, fine. All I want to tell people is like there are solutions to everything. All right, just seek and you'll find it. Please have fun. Like, of course, there are going to be things that will come up in your kitty, which is something that is not something you look forward to. But learn to take things in a lighter way. Learn to take yourself easy. And I am here on, my Insta handle now. I'm there on Facebook. I do one-on-one clients. I am also doing workshops. So I keep on putting, whatever the updates are about whichever webinar or workshop that I'm doing. So if there is anything at all about, parenting or teaching or otherwise one-on-one, any from corporate also, I have a lot of clients from corporate. You feel that I could help you with something, just feel free and ping me. But don't say a hi, just tell me that, okay, this is what it is about. Because the highs are generally overlooked.
And that's amazing. I'll also share Preeti's details and I'll also upload the replay of this session on YouTube. My last question to you, Preeti, this is again nagging me because I will. Okay, there is one question. How can we minimize kids' screen time?
By teaching them other habits, and you teach by modeling. So this was a discussion that we were happening. Why do children think that the screen is the only option of entertainment for them?
Mm,
Because probably they have never seen their parents reading a book. If they saw the
yeah,
parents reading a book, they would get into the habit of reading a book. If they saw their parents gardening, they would get into the habit of gardening. Open up the possibilities and options for them, right? But
right,
if you also, for whatever reason, I don't judge people, if you only have one option and that is a screen for your entertainment, that is what the child is learning. So please know that they are picking up whatever they're seeing around. The more options you want them to have, start doing whatever it is that you want them to follow. That is the only way I have seen that screen time can be reduced. They don't have anything else to do that is entertaining them or where they find fun. And that is why they're stuck to the glued to the screens. Let them
right.
read. Give them some hobbies,
Yeah.
give them the craft work, whatever they enjoy doing. But you have to let them know that it's a fun thing.
Right, right, right. That's very important because it's important for them to have choices in their mind. Brain should know, oh, if I can't, be on street, or if my mother is not giving me phone, it's not good for me. So what do I do? So he or she needs to have those choices. You could even
Absolutely.
start with storytelling. You could, take them in your lap and start storytelling. That's a beautiful way. You could take them out in nature. Like yesterday, I was also sharing with a couple of people that I took my 5 years old nephew to a park and he had never been there. And I started, playing with him. And if you see this leaf, he was the one who gifted me this leaf. Is picked up from there, and then I painted it. Then he asked me more details about this. So immediately his interest was, shifted. So you need to model what you want to, make want them to follow. And one last question, Preeti, for the grown-up kids. How how do we connect with our inner child? I have been doing that a lot, but for all the people who are here, who have come here for that also, so maybe one or two quick lines for them, and then we'll say
Yes, I will
bye-bye.
say
Yeah.
exactly what I told in the beginning for others. It is connection before correction. So how do you know
Hmm.
that it is something that is not working for me? By the simple thing that whatever I desire, whatever I want, I'm not getting it. Okay, whether it is a
Yeah.
relationship, whether it is the money, whether it is the job or the kind of connection I want with my colleagues or whatever. The first thing is
Hmm.
acknowledge the feelings that you're feeling. We have been
Yeah.
asked not to feel the feelings, right? If you're angry, oh my God, anger is bad. If you're feeling sad, oh, get over it. It is a part of life. So every time our feelings have been shot down, first step is please start to acknowledge those feelings. Know that it is
Yeah.
perfectly all right. It is perfectly human for you to have those feelings, right? Once you acknowledge them, only then you can work towards them, right? So when you have
True.
acknowledged those feelings, you can even start journaling. That was something very nice that we were talking about the other time, and you said that, and
Yeah.
I've been doing it for myself also. Start journaling. So what you will find is when you put it down on paper, it becomes a concrete thing, and set the intention that you're going to start getting over it. And like I
Hmm.
said, give yourself options. How else could I behave this? So as an NLPer, we know how to get over things, right? But for somebody else who's not into all of this, you can at least ask yourself, how would I want to feel instead? What are the
Right.
other ways that I could deal with it instead? So when we're talking about the inner child, an inner child problem is where we have not been, validated for the emotions that we have, where we have
Yeah.
faced trauma, not getting the emotional support or maybe physical support and other support. So mostly it is like emotional support, and it is so subtle that we don't even realize it has happened to us. Trauma is not
Yeah.
something big that always happens, an accident or a loss, a big loss or something
Right.
like that. Trauma can be small things like, okay, fine, I came running to my parent and she did not cuddle me or he did not cuddle me. It could be a
Yeah.
small thing. The parent might have been busy, really busy, but the child does not know. And if it
Right.
happens over a period of time and again, it becomes something like, oh my God, I'm not loved. So there are these subtle things that we don't even realize. So start first acknowledging what triggered this, okay,
Yeah.
and then what would I want to feel instead? What are the options that? So there is something called reparenting that we talk about, when we're talking about ourselves and our inner child.
Yeah. Yeah. That's needed. That's needed.
Yeah. So now, as a grown-up kid, okay, you have got more understanding and more experiences, and you could be your own parent and ask, tell yourself, okay, fine, Preet, this is all right. It's okay for you to feel like this, but you know what? Sometimes it happens, blah blah blah, and you give yourself that, the consolation. You could also like ease yourself up a little bit. That
Right.
this, and
Right.
you're smarter now. So you could, yeah, that is what the inner child work could start off.
Yeah.
Of course, there's much more.
Yeah, awesome. So, Preeti, I am sure these valuable tips for everyone that you've shared. They are going to be of great, great help. And people, please do watch the replay. And I think we don't have any time left now. So, despite the fact that I want to continue with this session and learn more from Preeti, I would thank her for being here, for taking her time and sharing such amazing insights with all of us. And thank you everyone for being here and being a support to
My
Preeti.
pleasure.
And
Thank you so much, Preet.
thank you and
Thank you for
bye bye
coming here.
everyone.